Hey, everybody, it's Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Welcome back to MTG, Constant MTG Podcast, brought to you by Constant Lists. I'm your host, Jared, and I've got the Siegfried to my Roy sitting, spiritually next to me. Ian, what's up, man? How you feeling?
Good, Jared. It's me. Hello, everybody. Yeah, the always in your heart. Always in your heart. I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be here. Really excited to be back full time this week. Last week I was running the back end of our podcast time, which apparently I looked really stressed. You all couldn't see it, but Jared was probably getting some laughs out of the stress that was in my eyes.
Yeah, it was actually liquid in your eyes, like just under. It was sort of like a serum of a viscous tear-like quality. Um, so
Yeah, I don't cry often, but when I do, it's viscous.
yes, you got the viscous meniscus. I don't know what to say. You know what it is? I figured it out. I figured out why those fingers are so dang pretty. It's because you're hydrating them with your viscous liquid
My tears.
tears. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
We should probably get to business. But I could talk about this all day, talk about every square inch of your body and what I think about it. But let's talk about what we're doing tonight. We'll do a little last time on stream update for the folks that missed it and maybe want to go back. Um, Ian, if you want to give us a couple of quick constant list updates, there's a pretty
Mhm.
big juicy one that I want to make sure we hit. And then, a few people mentioned they loved going to the mailroom. I think it's because people love it when I spend money. So I've got two packages here coming from different parts of the United States. And actually, I'm expecting like 6 or 7 packages. So I don't even know what's in there yet. I have a good feeling, though. Uh, then we'll talk about pre-release and kind of how that went for Lorwyn. Um, I experienced a lot of overperforming cards that aren't really being mentioned online, and I don't know if maybe that was just my firsthand experience, but we have very biased takes on which Lorwyn cards overperformed and underperformed, for that matter. And then it kind of pains me to say we're already here, but the pre-release mix-up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles promo cards has led to Wizards spoiling all of the rares and mythics for that set. And so Ian and I both picked some of the spoilers to kind of talk through and talk about speculation and where they go. So hopefully that sounds great. And I see chat is here. We've got a few of our friends. Thanks for coming in. Hopefully more folks will be rolling in there. And just a reminder, so last time on stream we actually had a bonus stream. So I'll talk about both of them. Last time on the real stream, the Thursday stream, we did go through Lorwyn and we built a goblin focused deck, which of course is Ian's favorite
It's
archetype.
terrible. I hated it
And you know what? By the end of the night, I think we were the last two people standing. Everybody in chat was like over it. And we started looking at each
because
other going, I don't even think this deck works. So, honest admission,
well, because it was goblins. That's why everyone knew it wasn't worth sticking around.
I'm still dead set on building smart goblins, or at least clever ones. They're never going to be smart. So, I'll come back with a deck list later. I think there's some refinements to be made. Now, we
I
did
think
yeah, go ahead.
I think we were onto something. I did like the Squee and Slimefoot combo. I
Yeah, it's
really
a cool card.
I I just wouldn't lean into it with goblins. I kind of re-looked at it the next day and I was like, yeah, I want to go into like the stupid like bring back big things from the graveyard, basically, not for free but for nothing essentially with Squeeze and Slimefoot's ability. Like I think that's where I would lean in and then sacrifice all those big things to some sort of value engine and then bring them back again with Squee and Slimefoot.
I love it. I love it. I think both of us I feel like you told me one of your first big decks was a Reanimator deck, and my first big, I guess you would call it Eternal or Vintage at this point deck, was Orzhov Reanimator. So yeah, I'm a sucker for any sort of reanimate stuff, and Squee and Slimefoot is a cool commander. I think we did land on a cool commander. We just need to judge the deck list a little bit.
Yeah.
We did a bonus stream, so go check that out. Give us a like. It is 2 collector box openings, which is, sort of $800 out of pocket for both Zach, our head producer, and Real Goose, who's one of our founders. And we had a blast, man. I really enjoyed opening those boosters on behalf of somebody. It's actually a little more nerve wracking than I thought it would be. But it was a good time, and
Mhm.
again, Ian, you were in the background, so you got to kind of sit back and sweat those beautiful tears while
Yep.
we tallied the dollars.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it did put constant lists to the test. I'm not going to lie. It by the end of the by the end of the stream, the site was like, please refresh me. Like it was because I was constantly in and out doing price checks and printing, switching, and all sorts of things. So it was a really good stress test, but it still held up. And I doubt anybody in a normal situation would be leveraging the site for that purpose. So again, it was a really good test of will for the website.
Yes, yes, a test of will, maybe a force of will. I love it. Shout outs to X Greg and Azixa. Welcome back to the stream. We missed you last week. We're about to go into the mailroom, and let's do it. Without further ado, Ian, you ready to check out some of the latest and greatest coming into my mailbox?
Let's do it. Let's see your box.
Yeah, I would love to explore my box. Let me just see. I like to tell y'all where these are coming. This is another one. This might be the same person. I might just be ordering from the same poor guy over and over again and paying shipping. But this is somebody from Ellisburg, PA. I feel like I got a package from PA last week, but maybe it's just a bunch of I don't know. Anybody in the chat have friends in PA that are like big magic nerds? Maybe that's what is this? Ellisburg? Maybe Ellisburg, PA is like a magic hotspot. We can all go out there.
Perhaps. Maybe
Um,
it's
uh,
some sort of mecca of magic, the magic mecca.
okay, so this is packaged in a very nice, tight, solid packaging. I kind of think I know what it is. Um, so I'll give him a plug. Bowserstein. We hope you buy from us again. Nice packaging, really. Um, and if this is what I think it is, that would make sense why they went out of their way. We got a cardboard. I
Did
think
you
this
buy
is
a guy's cradle?
no, but I did. This is the most I've ever spent on a single card, actually, and it's not as much as people might
This is a
think,
big
but
this is a big moment. I'm actually really excited
it
about
is.
this
It is. It
because
is. It is. It is. It is. Okay. Let me take the tape off because it looks like. All right. It is a foil Great Henge, aka the Banyan Tree. And so I've seen foil versions of this in the $80 range, but I managed to snag it for 50. For whatever reason, people hate this treatment of cards. And I think even the basic Great Henge is like 65 or $70. And I actually quite
Mhm.
like the art on this card, and I like Avatar. So I went ahead and sucked it up and paid, I think it was $53 with the tax and shipping.
Dude,
And I
that's
feel
awesome.
pretty good about it. Foil
You
Great Henge.
should.
Yeah.
That's a I love, I will say I do love the art on it. I agree. I thought for sure you were gonna end up buying the party tree because I know you were like
Oh, I
riding
know.
high on getting one of those. But dude, a great henge is a great henge, period. I'm happy I bought it before it got nuts. I think I bought it when it first came out and it was like 20 bucks. And it was crazy because I actually only bought two of them because at the time I needed to buy two questing beasts, and questing
Mm,
beasts at that time were more
then the Great
than the
Henge.
great henge,
Yeah.
which is crazy because now questing beast is like maybe a couple bucks or a few bucks if you buy it new today. So yeah, but my great henges have gone a long way. They're amazing cards.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I'm gonna just take a look at the back, make sure I didn't get scammed. Yep, that's a magic card, all right. Yeah, very happy with this. As Access said in stream, good price. I definitely, y'all, here's a secret. This is like, insider knowledge. Go into your favorite large language model. I use ChatGPT 5 and tell it I don't want to buy this card on eBay or TCG Player. I want you to find me a local shop that is priced aggressively, and that's where I've gotten a lot of these cards is, Chat GPT, sending me on little missions to see where I could find a good deal on cards. So
Dude, that's awesome.
very cool. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it works for you. Let's see what the next one is.
So
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 go
Jared,
ahead.
I gotta ask, I think everyone wants to know, what deck are you putting that great henge into?
Yeah, so for now, it's gonna go in my Brennard, the Ginger Sculpture deck, um, which is
Okay.
already a deck that I feel like feels pretty powerful. But at the moment, I don't have any other cards or any other decks to put it, so I'm gonna put it there for now. Um, so there you go, Brenner, the Ginger Sculptor. Here is okay. This
Ever
is
watched
have I ever watched?
I've only ever watched you play I've only watched you play Brennard from a distance. I've actually never played against you and Brennard.
Well, we're gonna have to make that happen next time. We'll see you at the table. One of my rare decks that doesn't include black in it. That one is Bant. Bant,
It
right?
is banned, yeah.
Blue, white, green,
Yeah.
and I love it. It is truly one of my favorite decks. I mean, I think besides Deadpool, that might be number two, to be honest.
It's really cool, and pun intended, it's very flavorful. Um, the art's super fun. I love the gingerbread, like, just the
Looks like we may
golem
have
and food,
lost Ian there for just a second. Oh, there he is. There
matters
he's
kind of
back.
tribal theme is I love it. I love it.
Well, and
And
I
that you
like to
get
do
to
I
cheat
like to
in.
dump stuff, right, Ian? Like print out
Yeah.
Hmm.
Valentine's Day coupons for my Deadpool deck that say like free hugs and things. Um, I got this idea from
Mhm.
another streamer who is building the Evoke Elementals precon from Lorwyn, and because he was going to have to keep track of token versions of all of his creatures, he just printed another set of all of the creatures in the deck to use as like markers for which creatures are copies. And I was thinking maybe I'll do the same thing for my Brenner deck, except I'll have ChatGPT morph all of my cards into gingerbread cookies and print them
I
out.
think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. You should definitely
So
do that.
that might be the thing. That might be the thing. Well, we're gonna leave PA. Again, very excited about this card. To date, the most expensive card I've ever bought. Certainly, I have a lot of cards that are worth many, many hundreds of dollars, but man, I bought those all when I was in school for pennies on the dollar. So this felt like an investment, but a really good one. The next one, we're traveling all the way to Bay City, Michigan for this next pack. You know what? Somebody in our Discord's been doing a whole lot of speculative buying, and I caught the excitement of it, and I made a speculative purchase myself, but also a purchase for a deck. Real quick, this is funny. They gave me a bunch of Pokemon energy.
Those weren't misprints of the cards.
No, I don't know. Maybe
Topical
it's
in the news.
I suppose that's just to make it feel a little more sturdy and maybe help prevent the card from bending. But I bought two, and we'll take a look at the condition. They said heavy played, and I was concerned that they'd be in real tough shape. But actually, these look pretty darn good. Harbinger of Night is
Is
on the
on the
reserve
reserve
list.
list.
Let me
Let me
show
show
you.
you.
We're
We're
using a
using
new
a new
camera
camera
setup, so
setup,
let
so
me
let me
know,
know,
is
is
that
that
clear?
clear?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay. So Harbinger of Night is 2 and 2 black. It's right here. How about that? Okay.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, sorry.
2 and 2 black. It's a spirit. It's a 2/3. During your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature. And this card is on the reserve list, so it'll never see a reprint. It's a good investment. And in particular, the release of the Blight precon for Lorwyn started to spike this card. I think I hit it midway up in terms of pricing. I bought 2 of these at $11 each. And Ian, I don't know if you could see the total right now, but last I looked, it was like
It's up to
27. Where is
nah,
it?
dude. It's almost $48 right now.
Oh God. Okay. So yeah, from
Yeah.
all right. So I won this one. I got you this time, Robotnik.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bought these for $11 each, and they were listed at heavy play. The corner on this one is a little bit nicked, but they look pretty darn solid. Like, let me look at this other one here. This is near mint as far as well, maybe a little bit of stuff on the top left edge,
Heavy.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
I was talking with somebody at pre-release, and we were just talking about conditions and like collection tracking and stuff like that. And it's just like I honestly, it's in my opinion, it's been a toss-up. I bought moderately played, listed cards that have been in better condition than light played or near mint. And then of course, things get damaged in shipping too. So it's like it's all a toss up, but dude, what a good buy, man, because you got 2 for the price of half of 1, basically.
Holy
Um,
moly. Yeah,
that's
no
a
kidding.
that's a great steal.
Well, I told one friend, I said, yeah, I'm probably, because this is a person who was talking about maybe building the Blight deck also. And I said, yeah, I picked up this card and I think it's going to go. I think, everywhere I'm looking, it's about $20, but I found it for 11 and it says there's 2 left. So if you want to get 2 of them, get in there. And then I get a text message from him. He's like, I bought 6 of them. And I was like, I don't know how you did that, but cool. Cool. So, Jared's
Yeah,
speculation corner seems to be doing just fine.
yeah. We got some good. Honestly, we have some really great folks in the Discord that, like Azixa is really great. Always posting, speculations and, I mean, just like really meaningful ideas of what to put some investment into if you're looking to get cards that maybe you wouldn't ideally buy, but based on the trends or where things are going with new sets and things like that, there are a lot of cards that kind of fall off people's radar that we surface back up in the Discord, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the cool things about the community. I mean, at the end of the day, we're still all degenerate gamblers and we get real excited about cost savings or speculative earnings. I think those of us with
Yeah.
partners probably have said the words, don't worry, uh, this is going to be worth a ton of money. We're going to get rich off of this hobby. So yeah, no, I think it's great community. And I think, speaking of which, we should just give our quick plug and then we'll keep moving. It's 2026 and let's be honest, most Magic websites still feel like they're running on Windows XP. And they feel like they were built by people who play on autopilot. They're clunky, they're slow, and they have zero respect for timing. Constant lists exists because we wanted tools for players who learn the hard way. Missed triggers, blown stacks, that one judge call you'll never forget. We wanted something faster, cleaner, and built for how Magic actually gets played when things go sideways. Constant List is a community-driven MTG platform for deck builders, collectors, traders, and people uh, who don't get good by being loud. Decks, collections, pricing calls, and rule situations that make the table go quiet, all in one place without fighting the UI like it's your first night out. Here's the part that matters. This is the really important part. This thing is built in public. Every feature starts because someone asked for it. If it doesn't hold up, it doesn't last. If it works, it stays because the community sharpened it. This isn't corporate magic. This is player magic, trained, not marketed. Constant MTG is the same idea, just live. We love spending time with you all on this stream and many others. We got brews, spoilers, and rule weirdness for people who already know what priority means. No yelling. I'm not sure if I agree with that one. No hand holding. I'm definitely breaking that rule with Ian's sweet hands. Just magic played with intention. If you want to help keep it independent, that's where Patreon comes in. We've got constant support is $2, just $2, and it helps keep the lights on. We did get a couple of constant support joins on Patreon last week, so thank you so much for the folks that are helping us out. We are getting closer and closer to break even on server costs, and so we really appreciate it. If you have a little more and you can support us a little more, Constant Growth is our $5 tier, and it gets you early access and testing. And then if you are one of those folks that can give us a little bit more support, Constant Core puts you in the room where decisions get made. Free support still matters, of course. Watching, sharing, liking, hitting that bell, hanging out, talking shop. Patreon just keeps the doors hidden and the lights low. If you're tired of surface level magic, you already know where to go. The links are up. And that being said, I do want to make a quick announcement, and then we'll funnel over to Ian, who can give us a little more of this update. But we are live to the public. We can call it a public beta, but Constant List is now live. No more private URLs. In fact, our URL right now is www.constantkaratechoplist.com. www.constant, and that karate chop is a hyphen lists.com. The karate chop is just there to help you remember. Ian, give us some Constant List updates.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot. Our Patreon January update was published today. I'd say some of the big updates since our last December update have been dark mode and light mode, which we have talked about on stream. You're seeing right now a revamped build page. So this is the deck build page. We added folder support. So we removed, there was before like some images with like recent decks, and it looked nice, but it was pretty limiting as far as screen real estate. So we got some feedback around that, and also some requests from a number of people that leverage folders in other deck builders. And I did a lot of research, checked a bunch of different sites, Moxfield, Architect, Manabox, places like that. Took a look at how their folder systems worked. There was a really great YouTube short from a person that essentially gave a really good explanation on why folder sharing was important and folder organization was important to him. So we implemented a new folder system, which I think is, I'm really excited about it. It's really cool. So you can see all your decks at a glance. These obviously can also be grouped under a number of different options. There is still a recent deck, so it'll show you the 10 most recent decks that you've made changes or edits to. But then we get into folders, and this is meant to be unlimited nesting, which is kind of, I don't know anyone that would go that crazy, but you are able to make nested folders here. And the nested folders obviously roll up into the parent folder. So you're able to really get organized, stay organized, classify things in some really meaningful ways. I've gone 3 levels down at this point with our sealed openings from the other night. But there are apparently, I mean, I haven't tested the limits here. So those that get on, please feel free to see how far down you can go. And one of the really cool features, this is so silly. I actually called somebody when I got this working because I was so excited about it. But if you do click on another folder, it will disclose the folder you're active in, and it will expand any folder that you click onto, which I totally nerded out when I got that working. So it's, you know, we're trying to make sure that the UX is really clean here. And that's where a lot of the feedback from our patrons and from our Discord as a whole has played a huge part in building all that you're seeing here. The other thing that we added Just actually, I mean, yesterday, I was trying to get this over the finish line for tonight's stream, which I think I got it pretty good. But we added deck tagging as well. So some of you might be familiar. I'm not going to spoil what we're talking about today. So let me open a different deck. We'll open one of our decks we built on stream. Actually, no, I'll open this deck. I'm pretty excited about this one. Jared, I don't know if you know I'm building this deck, but now you do. So um, when you open a deck in a lot of different systems, they have tags that you can add to them. You might be familiar with this feature. In things like Moxfield, other, Arcadeck has tags. I'm pretty sure Manabox does too. Most platforms do. And you can click on the plus, and there's a number of different tags you can choose. Um, Taking it a step further, aside from the tags themselves, which are editable, we can add tags, we can remove tags. We also took it a step further and categorized the tags into groupings. So you're really able to understand, like, okay, what's my project status for this deck? What archetype am I running? Are there any specific strategies that I'm really leaning into? And then also power level is included in here too. And this again is driven by patrons. So as people have come in, or as people start using the site, we really want to hear what else we could add here to make it meaningful. But taking it another step further, on the build page itself, in most sites, you can really only tag decks when you're in the deck. So we added tagging at the deck level on the build page. So you can also, similarly to the deck itself, we'll go back to the one I was on, click on the tag icon here, and you're able to add your tags at a glance here on this page as well. So you have full control without having to enter the deck and wait through a loading screen, especially with like commander decks or just decks that you have a lot of cards in. To save you just a few seconds, you can quickly tag them. You can also quickly add them to any folders that you want here as well. Just really, really quickly. So trying to be really thoughtful there. And yeah, these features, really excited about them. Dark mode and light mode has been good. Um, a lot of back end really gonna see. Hopefully, like these are things that are there to help improve performance and reliability, and just make the site feel really smooth and clean, and avoid any sort of like funky, pictures not loading, things, taking you into the wrong card, getting you the correct information underneath the cards. All that kind of stuff is actually probably where I spend more time than the stuff that we actually see a lot of times. But the stuff that we see, the tags, the folders, that stuff, I'm really, really excited to share with everybody. And then the decision today was to decide to actually let everyone in and start using the site. So it's like you might not be able to, you might be able to hear it in my voice, but it's like nerve wracking, thinking about people coming in here. And I really want to make sure that this site works for beginners, for advanced users, for anyone that wants to make decks, manage collections, all this good stuff. It's going to be hopefully something really, really cool. So um, that's the updates I have for today. Um, Obviously, please jump in. The link is live, so we want to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear what we can do to make the site better. I have plans to add a feedback link to the site as well, so we can collect feedback from those that maybe aren't in Discord, and those that aren't a part of the Patreon. But yeah, it's a really cool time. It's kind of a proud parent moment in a way, letting this out into the open. So yeah, that have everyone that's been in our Discord, all of our patrons. I mean, I feel like I have a running log of things I can work on for a very long time, and that's all thanks to those that are giving feedback and being fearless with sharing how they feel about things. And hopefully that's being delivered on with these the end output of the site. So thanks so much for the platform tonight to talk.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, we'll be using the site for the rest of the night, which is also a sneaky way to show off just how user friendly and great it is. And again, like I feel like every week I see something new as we're browsing the site together. So without further ado, we did want to talk about our pre-release experience. Ian and I went to the same pre-release. We're
Hmm.
local here in Austin, and we have a favorite local game shop. I'll give them a plug because I think they're so fabulous. They're actually having their 1 year anniversary this weekend, which is a real shame because we're expecting a blizzard that is likely going to knock out the whole power grid. But happy 1 year to Adventures in Ink. It's a local Austin game shop up north. And so Ian and I both went. But the funny thing was, beyond taking a quick photo to post on the Instagram, we really didn't see each other. We were in different pods and different matchups, and I think we ended with the same record. So, um, it seemed like we would have gotten matched up towards the end there, but it never happened. And so I do want to talk through, what we thought performed. Again, I did a little research today and cross-referenced my list, and some of the things that worked really great for me weren't evaluated as highly. And so it could be a fluke. This could be sort of like a you got to get 50 reps in to really know the value of a card. But we got some great cards to discuss. We haven't looked at each other's lists. And so there could be some crossover. I'd kind of expect that to be the case. But let's take a look. Ian, why don't you pull them up?
Yeah, so I'll pull up mine first. And so my pre-release deck was a Big Butts Matter. It was a deck. So to no surprise, I'll just spoil it. We're gonna see for lack of a better term, I mean, he did work. Every time he hit the board, or after um, and I like um um door that each creature you cast with toughness greater cost one.
So y'all, seems like we're having some audio issues here on Ian's side, possibly. Not sure if it might be a network connection thing. Um, but stay tuned while we try to get this sorted out. Appreciate y'all's patience and everything.
Can y'all hear me okay? Because if so, we can start working through my list if we need to. Zach, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
I wonder, it seems like Ian might be either troubleshooting or restarting. But so it looks like we don't have a list on screen, but you and I can start talking about pre-release and what kind of deck did you build while we wait for Ian?
Yeah. Unfortunately, they can hear me just fine. That's good. Thanks, Hunter. I'll keep talking. Uh, so I had an interesting deck. I got Morkant, the foot fetish elf, and she was like my major bomb that I felt drawn to elf tribal on. And I had a decent amount of elves. My elves were pretty good. I had enough changelings to really have enough elves. I think I had 13 elves total between changeling and elves themselves. But the problem was my green black removal suite was awful. And so I had to take a look at my deck and figure out if I could splash a third color, and I decided to do so. So I decided to splash white. My white removal suite was really good. I think I had 5 or 6 pieces of removal in white. And then I had a couple of little artifacts and enchantments that helped me out. And my color fixing was quite strong as well. I had 2 mutable explorers, which ended up overperforming. That one is on my list. Um, as well as two of the trees, the tree folk that taps for any color mana, but he's a 0/4, so he gums up the ground pretty well. So I was, Abzan clearly. However, I did open Sig was my promo card, and Sig was definitely pulling me towards Merfolks, but really just pulling me towards Sig. And I thought to myself, I'm already running white, which is one half of the Sig debate. I've got a lot of fixing and mana tappers. Might as well throw Sig in there. And actually, he was the MVP of the night. He ended up winning me, I think, two of my games, pretty much alone. The brutal combination of him always being unblockable, whether he's on his white side or his blue side, uh, as well as on the blue side giving us extra card draw, and on the white side being able to make one of my big elves unblockable by giving it protection from all colors, ended up being just amazing. It was pretty hilarious when my opponents saw, the island and the plains come out in addition to the forest and the swamp. They were like, "What is this guy doing?" But did really well in the pre-release. Would have gone 3-0, but we didn't have time to go to a tiebreaker match in the third round, so unfortunately had to take a draw, which put me at 2-1 for the end of the night. Um, so that's
That's
sort of
not
my
too bad.
not
Sounds like
bad.
it was a fun time.
It
I
was
was there
great.
as well, and you and I did not get to play against each other, but I did get to take down Ian, which I'm sure he was going to bring up at some point in the night. Uh, I was
I
running nasty little goblins, and it was a fun time.
I love it. I love it. And I actually didn't know that you and Ian played together, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. Every time I go to a pre-release, I save my pre-release deck, and I'm probably like withholding a bunch of rares and mythic rares that I've forgotten about over the years. And I always say to myself, "Oh, I'm going to play this. I want to play my pre-release deck against another person I didn't get a chance to." And then I never do, and I end up just putting it in the back of a closet. So, um, there it is. If we want to get some pre-release deck plays, next time we meet up in person, I would love to see how my deck runs against both of y'all.
Well, I mean, Zach knows how mine ran against his. I was 2-0 and I lost to Zach. I did beat him once though, so I felt good about that. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure what I missed, and I swear something at 9 o'clock must happen with my streets internet. So I'm sorry I dropped again tonight. Um, but do you
Yeah,
want me to
really
jump in?
just
You want me
start
to jump
off
into my
by
list?
telling us about your deck. I think
Yeah.
right as you were talking about Doran's big butt,
Yep.
um,
Dorn's big butt.
you
Yeah,
got winded out.
he he didn't make it more than a turn or two each game he came out. As soon as people figured out what he did, they tried to get rid of him really quickly. So the cost reduction for creatures with toughness greater than power is nice. That was cool. That didn't actually really hit much at all. But the thing that did hit super hard was his second ability. And there was something that I didn't realize initially, and Zach pointed it out to me. But the ability is whenever a creature you control attacks or blocks, which is awesome, by the way, because the blocking is so relevant, especially in limited. It gets plus X until end of turn, where X is the difference between its power and toughness. So most people see this and they're like, "Oh, it's a big butt card," which is cool. But it's also a card that could do work in a deck with like, those hasty kind of like 6/1 ball lightning type of cards as well, because it calculates the other way too. So if you have a 6/1, it's going to get +5/+5 because the difference between its power and toughness is 5. So a lot of people see this as just a big butt card, but you also could put it in a deck where you have high power, low toughness cards, and it gives them more blockability. But it also obviously is going to essentially, almost double their power when you go to attack, depending on what card you're looking at. So I had like a 3/2 in there that turned into a 4/3, and I had like 5 6s that were turning into 6 7s, and someone made a really silly meme reference and did the hand gesture when I said I was attacking with a 6 7. So that was fun. I think my kids might have laughed when they heard that. So yeah, he did work. It was a really good time. I ran Abzan, which I was kind of worried about, but it wasn't too bad.
You know what I'll
Um,
say about Doran, Ian, and I didn't realize this until you were explaining the card, and you got to read the card so that you can explain the card. It attacks and blocks as a 5/5, right?
it
Like,
attacks and blocks with a 5 10.
oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
so to me, like, even reading this card is like, "Oh, it's 1 and an Abzan, and it's a 0/5." Well, not really. It's a 5/10, dude. And
it's a
I
five.
will
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
this set is slower and grindier, and the board states get gummed up with ground creatures. I think I only saw 1 flyer in all of my matches. Um and so a 5/10 for 4 is no friggin' joke, dude.
It's not. And again, it's like it doesn't matter if it's your turn or your opponent's turn. If you're blocking, those creatures are getting buffed until the end of that turn. So, like, if they don't have an answer before they get buffed, and that's actually what ended up happening was the first turn his ability would go off, the next turn he was getting spot removed, like almost every time,
Yeah.
unless they didn't have an answer, which really turned the tide for the game most of the time. Um,
Yeah. Really
so
good.
he did super good work. Another card that I actually really loved, I saw it and I loved it, and then I played it and it worked really well was Furdock Core. I'm a sucker for things that turn into creatures. I'm kind of a control player. If you don't know me, I tend to play control decks. I swear it wasn't always that way, but back in the day with like all the man lands and lands you can turn into creatures and things like that. That was kind of the win con to grind your opponents down in some of the control decks. And so this kind of spoke to me. I needed mana fixing anyways, running Abzan. So it was nice that it could tap me for mana. But then it also got me out of a couple situations that were pretty rough. Like I needed to block, or at a couple different points, I was able to attack with it because my opponents were like tapped out, or they had a creature that they would, kind of trade with it. So it actually did really well. It's a fun little mana rock. I was really excited about it, and the fact that it has changeling isn't nothing. It that actually was pretty relevant. In some instances, you can bring this back from your graveyard with like specific creature type situation spells. So I didn't have that go off, but I could see that being relevant in some cases.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think there's like, well, this has happened in the last 6 months or so, but like 3 mana rock or 3 mana rock hate is
mhm.
all over the place, and I think this is a great 3 mana rock. And I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with your mana rock being 3 mana. Yes, 2
Hmm.
mana is better, but for a 3 mana rock, this is like a tribal, staple. What
Yeah.
tribal deck don't you put this in Commander? So yeah,
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah,
What else we
and
got?
again, yeah, it gets all those fun tribal buffs. I didn't know. I totally skipped over this card when the set came out, but Virulent Emissary. I didn't play it, but one of my opponents did, and it came out on the board. I was like, "What is that card? It's a 1 drop. It's got Death Touch, and it's basically um like Soul Warden or oh, what's the green version of Soul Warden? Essence Warden. It's Essence Warden, but with Death Touch. It's so it's so good. And it's an uncommon. I think it's going for like it's only 50 cents now, but I saw it as high as like a couple bucks. But I'm probably gonna snatch a play set of these up. I love that it costs 1 green. It's a 1/1 with Death Touch, which is, obviously that can be a deterrent. It was for me. I actually didn't swing in a couple times because this guy was on the board. And it ended up gaining my opponent probably 4 or 5 life because anytime a creature enters. Any creature that you control enters, token or non-token, you gain a life. So it's really good. I couldn't believe this card existed, to be honest with you. I was really excited to put it in this list.
So cool. Like I'm thinking about
Virulent
you know,
Emissary is a sweet bomb. And I just wanted to go back for just a second here because Doran, I just wanted to go back to Doran real quick here and throw in my 2 cents. The best use case you can have for Doran, believe it or not, is as a rat colony deck. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you told me that as soon as you said that. I was, and you
you
told me
told me
that right
that right
after
after
you
you
explained the
explained the
ruling for
ruling
the
for the
card to
card to
me.
me.
And as
And
soon
as
as
soon
you
as you
did
did
and you
and you
said
said
rat
rat
colony,
colony,
it's like
it's like
so
so
gross
gross
because
because
rat
rat
colony is
colony
a
is a
star
star
one,
one
and
and
its
it's
powers
a
equal
two
to
one. It's a 2/1 that gets +1/+0 for each other rat you control, and you can have as many of them in a deck as you want.
oh no.
yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Dorn
Disgusting
and the
stuff.
rats. Very disgusting stuff. Yeah. Yucky. Yucky, yucky. Good
It's pretty
call.
gross.
Good call on that. That's amazing. Well, yeah, Virulent Emissary. I need to buy a playset myself. That goes in a whole ton of stuff. And I've been thinking about reworking the Frodo and Sam deck into a Bilbo deck, which is all about life gain. And there, yeah, such a great card. Such a great card.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's see here. This one I thought was silly. Um, so this is Crossroads Watcher, and audio is doubled. I don't know if that's for everybody,
It looks
but
like it
mine's
was
is doubled.
gone now, so I think we're okay.
No, I hear myself. Here, maybe that's better.
Hopefully that's better now.
Maybe.
Yeah, G Ham over here is so right about the lack of otters. Okay. No computer video. We lost video for a second, but I think we're okay now.
No, I still hear myself.
All right, back to the screen share. Okay. I think we're back up and running again. Sorry about that, y'all. We're trying a new streaming client because we noticed that my video in particular was blurry, and so hopefully the fidelity on the screen is a little bit better. But of course, we're working out the kinks. Ian, keep cruising. Um, we got a message that said that your audio is not doubled anymore, Ian. How's that going? We need to have a track that we play, some hold music, y'all, for whenever we have technical difficulties. Ian, while we're working that out, would you mind pulling up my deck list and I'll go through my cards? All right. In chat, it says sound is crispy now. So hopefully that pertains to both Ian and myself. I know I'm crispy, but we'll figure out Ian's situation there in just a moment. All right. So, a lot of standouts here. I think I talked about this a little bit before. Sig was a card that won me games. I mean, it won me 3 games. And so that was my second splash. It's very awkward splashing a fourth color on a 2 mana card. But let me talk you through the support. The Great Forest Druid was my support for that card, as well as Bloom Tender. And I was able to sort of pull off some of these kind of very interesting situations. Um, Bloom Tender allowed me to. There's another enchantment. I think it's 1 and a green, and you enchant a land. The land becomes colored, and so you choose a color, and then you could tap that additional color too. So really, it was less the Bloom Tender tapping for blue, but it was the land coming down and giving me access to blue for Vivid. So Sig, again, flipping back and forth, always being unblockable. Um, there did seem to be less targeted removal in my matches. I had one guy who had not one, not two, not three, but 4 seers, which I did put in my overperforming cards. And so he was able to get stuff off the table pretty easily, but everybody else was light on removal, I found. Um, I will say Seer was sort of like a very obvious choice. 2 mana, 4 damage to a creature or planeswalker. We've seen this card a million times, but I did notice a lot of things in this set, and this is not atypical, but Power of 4 was present all over the place. There were 5/4s, there were 4/4s. So Seer pretty much blew up everything. So I did put that in my overperformers list. It's not fancy, it's not anything interesting, but just, me putting a pin in the way the format felt for me was a big one. Um, Tristan's Command, I got blown out by twice. That was like my salty card. I did not have one, I did not run one. But the 2 times that was played, even at the rate of 6, was insane. And I felt real bad. So that that was not good. Um, yeah, Zixa, I see you're looking for your bulk for how many Harbingers you have. That's awesome. Okay, just making sure everybody can hear me, right? I did get a message that said maybe I wasn't audible. Are we good? I hope so. While we're waiting for that, I'm assuming everybody can hear me because I haven't seen anything chat otherwise. But Ian, if you can zoom in on that Gathering Stone, this was actually a card that I did see on a few people's lists, and they rated it pretty low. But this card absolutely dominated games for me. I pulled one of them, and I was running Elf Tribal. It's you choose a creature type. I chose Elf every time. Creatures that chosen type are one less, as a matter of fact. That ended up being relevant. I had a lot of 2 drops that it was able to, triple spell on certain turns. But then this other piece, really, if you got enough creatures to support it, this last clause was huge for me. When this artifact enters and at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't put that card into your hand, you may put it into the graveyard. So it was sort of like a super surveil, and quite a
Yeah.
few of the elves in this set have surveil already. And
Yep.
so I had this Gathering Stone out. I was doing surveil, sort of a few times throughout the game, and I would be able to sort of stack my deck. So if it was an elf, I'd keep it on top, and then I'd pick up the double draw. And if it was anything else, really, it was going in the bin. 4 mana immediately draws you a card a lot of times if you're playing tribal. Reduces the cost of your creatures, it just overperformed for me.
This is really good. This is
It was
like,
awesome.
it's like, not well, I guess Harold's Horn is kind of in the same vein. And there's another one, I can't remember the name of it. It's got like stained glass on the artwork.
Yes. Yep.
Um, but it's the same concept. You get to like essentially peer ahead into your deck and you can grab a creature type off of it. Um, the one I'm thinking of that I can't remember the name of gives those creature types +1/+1, which I actually would prefer the cost reduction
Yep.
as opposed to the buff in a lot of cases. So this is cool. This is cool. Like I didn't even know this card existed until you just showed it. So this is yeah, this is bomb.
Yeah, and Azek's made the point here, which is kind of what I was making. A do nothing 4 mana artifact is tough. And I think that's why people are rating it low, but what they're forgetting is it triggers as soon as you play it. So the
Hmm.
likelihood of you getting the card back at the very least is pretty good. And again, with the format being a little slower, a little grindier, I just think this card in a limited environment makes a ton of sense. I don't know that this is like a banger for your tribal commander, but keep an eye on it. A lot of people are underrating this card. And again, I think this contributed to some of my wins. I can't give this card the win like I did with Sig, but it definitely, I mean,
I
one of
mean,
my matches I milled out, Ian. I milled myself out and
no
lost.
way.
And only because like I would have won. Like I had the inevitability. I just didn't have enough cards left in my deck. And
Wow.
really I was drawing off of this. I had a lot of surveil stuff going on, so I was definitely binning things and not even worried about it.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, I
That's
milled myself
crazy.
out. I drew a ton of cards.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
really cool. This is
it
really
was good.
cool.
It was good. All right, let's go back to the main list here. We talked about Seer. We talked about Tristan's command, just absolutely gobbling me. Bloom Tender was fantastic. It definitely performed well. I was constantly getting it at 3 for the vivid count, and I even got it to 5 one turn because again I played that enchantment that made one of my lands. I made it red, and my opponent was like, "What are you doing?" And then I busted out my Bloom Tender and was using it to tap for 5, which is insane. It
That's
was
cool.
also an elf, and I also had the stone out, so I paid 1 for a for a, uh, for a dork, a mana dork that could tap for Wooburg. So gross.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Bloom Tender's a banger. It's good. Yeah. That's fun that you got it out for you were getting 5 out of it and limited too. That's funny.
Yeah, it was unexpected to say the least. The last card I'll really comment on, I will say Mutable Explorer did a lot of work for me. I had 2 of them. But another groan card that I had to work around was that dang Goliath Daydreamer. We
Oh my
talked about
God.
that in our Lorwyn Spoilers stream, but I did face it, and oh my God, that thing overperformed. It was
Zach played
very
it against
scary.
me. Yeah,
It
Zach
was
put it out against me, and I was like, "What is that card?" Because he had it. He had the alternate art, the which is so. Um, y- it's so unassuming when you see this kind old lady sleeping with her pile of books. But it is absolutely just backbreaking if you don't answer it because he had Grub's command exiled with it, so he could just cast Grub's command every turn for free. And it was
Rob's
just like,
command was one of them, and then the other one was bloodline bidding. I tried to
oh,
do, but it
that's
got
right.
removed very quickly.
You did have bloodline bidding on it too. That's right.
you
Yeah,
don't even need a
it's
crazy spell attached to it either, by the way. I was getting nugged with Sears. It was the guy who played 4 Sears. He was doing Sears and then using the Goliath Daydreamer to get another one. It was yucky. Yucky,
dude,
yucky, yucky.
and the thing is like the cards in exile don't go away. So like
Every turn.
if you're playing this in like standard or modern and you have multiple copies of it, or if you copied it in a commander deck, as long as there's a card in your exile zone with dream counters, you can cast them with any Goliath Daydreamer.
You can also,
When
yeah, you can recur it and then still get that. Like if you can get the Daydreamer back, you can keep casting those spells.
Yeah.
Daydreamer. Yeah, yeah, I near had a heart attack. I did end up pulling a piece of removal that I had to deploy on the Dreamer, but it was gross. Thank goodness it's a 4/4. I had the deal 4 damage to an attacking or blocking creature, which is like White's, targeted removal strategy. So thank goodness I was able to finally stop it, but it was nasty, 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 nasty. That about rounds out my list. One more time, I think that Tree Folk that taps for one of any color is overperforming in the pre-release. If nothing else, just being a 0/4 body to gum
Mm.
up the battlefield really
Dude,
kept
put
shit
that out
at
with
bay.
put that out with Doran, man. You have a 4/8 on your hands.
Gross,
Yeah.
gross.
Um, I wanted to just quickly, because I did get disconnected there, which apologies for that. Um, just weird issues today. But I wanted to just quickly go through a couple of the cards from my list before we move on. One of them that I thought was super funny is Crossroads Watcher. This is like such a dorky little common. But it's a 3/3 for 3 with trample. And whenever another creature you control enters, it gets +1/+0. And I actually looked at this card for a second and I was like, wait a second. I had to read it a few times because it's whenever another creature you control enters, like period, it gets +1/+0. And I don't know, some of you may know this about me, but I have a Sliver Queen deck, and this would very easily slot into my Sliver Queen deck. This is like this could go infinite very quickly and become very large and swing in with trample for a ton of damage in the right token generation deck. So, it's a stupid little 17-cent common. It's probably even cheaper. The artwork is super funny. This little Kithkin has like the longest freaking neck, and just like it's just a really funny looking little person. But I was kind of blown away by this card. I did not even expect it to be in this list. I was going through cards and I saw it and I was like, I think people should know about this. It's actually pretty cool.
Long
Um,
neck Doug, the Crossroads Watcher. I love it.
Long neck Doug. Um, and then I pulled two of these and I didn't really pay it much mind during pre-release, but Soul Immolation. Um, I reread it when I was going through cards again, and it's pretty cool. So if you could get a really high toughness creature out, this is like a one-sided board wipe, basically. This says, in addition to casting it, you can blight X. X can be any amount, but it can't be greater than the greatest toughness among creatures you control. So if you have, some crazy high, big toughness creature, you
Maybe
could
like a Walls of
basically.
Ba Sing Se.
Oh yeah, yeah, the new wall from Avatar. If you cast this in your second main phase, after Doran has like buffed himself up to a 5/10, but it does X damage to each opponent and each creature they control. So it's like a
It's a
one-sided board
finisher,
wipe.
but
It's a finisher. It's a
yeah.
one-sided board wipe for you in red. I looked at it very briefly in pre-release because I knew pretty quickly I wasn't going into red with the cards I pulled. But I got two of these, and I'm actually kind of really excited about it because it's a really good card. Like I definitely am happy I reread it before getting on today.
What do we think the minimum blight X would be for this card to feel good about it? I mean, I think it's fairly low. I mean,
Mhm.
blighting two and blowing up a significant number of creatures on the board and certainly being
Mhm.
able to choose when you deploy it seems pretty good. It's just like, I think this card gets compared to things like Toxic Deluge and stuff. Like people are going to look at that rate of 5 and go, it's maybe 1 too expensive. But the flexibility of being able to KO somebody for their last 5 health or
You
something
could be
is pretty good.
KO somebody, take out all the rest of the creatures for the other people that are on the board. If you're even slightly dabbling in counters and counter manipulation type stuff, this is gonna net you potentially a ton of counters, that you can use to fuel other silly things. The artwork is fucking sick. Like it's like Drew Tucker. I haven't seen a Drew Tucker card in a long time like this. I just love. It's just such a cool card.
I love
Um,
D-Tuck.
yeah, and you know it's a mythic, and I think it's a mythic that I personally just completely overlooked. And shame on me, but I think the pre-release was trying to tell me something when I ended up getting two of them. So I can see this going into my Wolverine deck, um, like easily, because I can get Wolverine pretty big and keep buffing him as the game continues. But ideally, you'd play this when things are kind of already at a decent end game state and finish it off.
Yeah, and I actually, stupid me, I should probably read the cards. I didn't realize it was a one-sided board wipe too. So yeah,
Hmm.
I'm upgrading my stance
Hmm.
here. In
Yeah.
Commander too, like I
If it was all creatures, I'd be like, meh, it's okay. Like it's cool, I can hit all my opponents. But the fact that it's all your opponents and only their creatures is like it's a completely different card because of that.
well, and I guess the nature of -1/-1 counters canceling out +1/+1 counters is also like that's kind of what you were getting at with the +1/+1 counter shenanigans.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, you could have a 3/3 that has +2/+2 on it, and really you could actually blight what 6? No, 7
You
because
can
two
blight
of the
whatever you can blight. No, it's got to be the greatest toughness among creatures you control. So it's got to be one specific creature with the highest toughness. So you know it would have to be a 7. If you're tying 7, it would have to be a something 7.
yeah, but you don't
Um,
have to blight onto that creature. That's the
no,
craziest part.
you
You
don't.
just
You
you put
don't.
it on a 1/1. Yeah, that's
Correct.
crazy.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can blight off one of your own things and keep the thing that's huge. And just imagine if you had like freaking Dream the Giant out there, you could just cast this every combat and blight 4. You could blight 4 if that was your biggest creature and put a blight count, the counters on something that you want to kill off. And yeah,
Okay,
it
I'm in.
yeah.
I'm in. This is
you,
one of the
you can do
better
some
board
silly stuff.
wipes we've seen. Holy moly. Hunter's
Yeah,
on it.
it's
Yeah,
good. It's
I love
good.
it. Very cool.
The other one that I thought was just kind of just real stupid and silly is Dream Harvest. I didn't get to play it. I didn't pull one. I didn't play anybody that played it, but I saw it before we went to pre-release. I want to snatch one of these up at least, maybe more. Um, this card is this card can be absolutely game changing. um, so it's a 7 drop, which seems like a lot, but this gives me like um, just some really good vibes if you were playing it in a lot of different decks that have black and blue. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the Sultai card that you can cast for X that I've resolved a few times and done some big damage. But each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they've exiled cards with total mana value 5 or greater this way. Until the end of turn, you may cast cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. This could You could pull some crazy stuff off here, because it's 5 or greater, right? So if someone it's like blackjack without busting. Someone could pull out, their 8 or 9 drop, and you still would be able to cast that even if it eclipsed the 5 mana cost. So you could get all sorts of stuff from this, and it's every opponent does it. So if you get this out with 3 opponents down, you're going to at least get 3 cards that you can cast until the end of turn, if not more, which is crazy. It's not non-creature. It's not, instant or sorcery only. It's any card that gets exiled. You can cast them without paying. So it's yeah, it's it's pretty. It can be pretty gross if it resolved. So this one I was pretty excited about.
Yeah, I wonder if this goes in my Ishtola deck. I like to keep the mana cost low, but a couple of 6 and 7 costed things with like a huge upside and being
Mhm.
able to, you're casting, the cards that you exile. So really it's like a triple spell at the least. And
At
hopefully you
least,
get some more Ishtola triggers,
yep,
based on whatever you draw. So
yeah,
yeah, I like it. I like it. I don't like
yeah,
7 mana. My favorite card in the whole game is 7 mana. But
yeah.
it's not
It's
an easy, it's a little
it's
tricky to get there.
yeah, but if you get this like late game, this could just be something that you throw out, at a minimum to get someone's counter spell out of their hand. But ideally, if this resolved, it would be something that would turn the game. Like there would
Yep.
be a change in the game because of this card, if you
Yep.
got it out.
Yep.
Yeah, you play this with the Goliath Daydreamer out.
Yuck.
Yes,
Yuck,
yes, you're
dude.
playing. But at that point, you are playing Grixis, which means that you are probably the worst player on the board, and need to be dealt with. So yes, that would be disgusting.
And you know what? Hunter said it in the chat, and I thought of it immediately. I was like, "Oh, it's like an Atali times 3, basically." Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Atali spell, basically.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about a
Yep.
panoptic mirror with Dream Harvest? How about
Oh
that?
God, that's gross. Gross, gross. This one, my one of my opponents got out. I thought it was really cool. Again, a lot of the cards I didn't realize did what they did, but this one's pretty nifty. Lasting Tarfire. It's impact tremors, but for counters, kind of. At the beginning of each end step, if you put a counter on a creature this turn, this enchantment does 2 damage to each opponent. That's like so easy to do. Like it's so easy to put counters on things at a whim. And we're gonna get into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but with the new mutagen counters, or the mutagen tokens that can come onto the board, that's essentially a way to put 1/1 counters. I don't think it's at sorcery speed. I'm pretty sure you can put 1/1 counters on things
I think that's
at
right.
instant speed. So this just seems like in a counter deck, it fits. It's got to be in there. It's just it's a card you got to auto include, and you could potentially be doing 8 damage each round around the board. I was kind of bummed because my opponent put it out and actually never triggered it. It just never happened for him, but it feels like a really good card for any counter deck. And then this one I just had to put in because Zach knows this probably more so than anyone else I play, but I love turning people's creatures into non-threats. And so I saw Noggle the Mind in this card. Aside from it being hilarious, it is a enchantment. It's got enchant creature, loses all abilities, and is a colorless Noggle with base power and toughness 1/1. There's a couple things about this card that are really good. Number one, it turns the creature into a different thing entirely. It gives it base power and toughness 1/1, which is cool. It loses all abilities, which is cool. That's not unique. It makes it colorless, which is also that is unique. There aren't most of these, changing of creature type things make them into a color, but this makes them colorless, which could be really relevant. And it makes them a creature type that's like really weird and doesn't really synergize with anything. And then it also has flash, which is really cool. Um, that's actually what drew me to it the most is the flash aspect of it. Most of these are actually, I'd say all of them, unless you have a card that enables it, you can only cast it as as an enchantment.
Yep.
They don't have flash. So this one is like super unique, and it's a 2-drop, which I mean, honestly, this slots right in with many other cards that do the same thing, but the qualities around it are, I think, by far and away much better
The
for
only,
the
I mean,
cost and the flash.
it's 99% of the way there. The only thing it's missing, the only thing that makes this not the best version of this type of card is the making it a creature. You
Mhm.
know, like
Yeah,
Lignified
it
makes it a land, Imprisoned in the Mood makes it,
A
I forget
land.
if a land.
mhm.
So keeping it as a
No,
creature is the
no, Lignify makes it a tree folk. So you're thinking of oh, Zach, what's that card that you love that I play against your Aragorn? Um, I
I don't
want
want to
Zach
think
to
of. I don't
say
want
it.
to. I don't
I
want to
want
think
Zach
about
to
it.
say it. Yeah, the one that turns creatures into forests. Yeah,
yeah.
turns them into a forest. Yeah.
That's the only thing this is missing. Other than that, this is the best version of this effect we've seen,
Hmm.
which I think it puts it in the upper tier of this. It's
It's
definitely
a
better
Song of
than
the
like a
Dryads, by the way.
Tongafy.
Yeah,
It's
Song of the
definitely
Dryad.
better. Oh yeah, Song of the Dryad. That's right. Better than a Pongafy. Better than um, a Beast Within. Although Beast Within hits permanents. It's in the upper echelon. That's all I'm getting at.
Well,
It's towards the
what's
top.
great what's great about it is it's not removal, right? Like the thing is still on the board. So like you still, that creature's still out there. It's still, able to be interacted with. But it's kind of just like sitting there, and unless you remove the enchantment, it's not really going to do anything. Yeah, it's good.
Very good.
So,
Very
we
good.
talked about mutagen. I think it's time we move into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What do you think, Jared?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Although I will say, I think my stance similar to others. As much as I was a late '80s, '90s kid and loved the Ninja Turtles, this set had my sort of Magic Universes Beyond fatigue going wild. But as much as I was skeptical about this set, as much as I bought the precon on pre-order and wasn't excited about another 5-color deck, the spoilers have actually gotten me excited. I think
Yep.
number one, the cards are pushed, especially cards that I'm interested in. And number two, the artwork in the set is not offensively non-magic. Like, yes, you are going to see Ninja Turtles. Yes, that breaks continuity a little bit. But like any of the cards that don't feature the Ninja Turtles, even like the villains that are well known, they look like
Mhm.
magic cards, man. Like they look like they fit in with the greater set. I'm not
Yep.
in love with the set symbol because that's a obvious tell, but I do think there's a lot of cards from this set that people run. And if it weren't for the set turtle being a turtle face,
Mhm.
people would be like, "What is that from?" So it's good. I made my list. I'm excited to look over it with you.
Yeah, yeah. I felt similar when I was going through the spoilers for tonight. I was like, oh man, I'm kind of liking this. I like the mechanics they're going after. The mechanics that are key in the set. The art is awesome. I like what they did with the turtles. They just did a lot of like really cool things with how they paired up cards and characters from the show, from the set and the series. So I'll jump in. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You just wrapped up on yours, so I'll take us for a ride.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let me grab your list. Because I got it in a link here. I'm pretty sure this should paste right in. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, at a glance, I'll tell you, Jared, we took very different approaches here. So I'm actually super excited about this. So I'll let you take it.
Okay, so let's start with the Mad Cow over here. Can I just say the artwork on this card makes me very happy. That might be 90% of why I chose this card. But here's the deal. I do like that it's a 0/4, which again, like the Lorwyn guy, um, is kind of hard to get rid of. It gums up the ground, but it adds 2 mana of any one color. So for three, so I think your typical mana dorks, the best ones are 1 mana. Then you've got a whole suite of 2 mana dorks. This one's a 3 mana dork, but it is generating two of any one color. It is a 0/4, and it's flying. So it's in green, it's sort of like that reach kind of creature. You're not attacking with this thing most likely, but you are potentially holding it back for blocks if there's a flying threat you're concerned about. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. It's not flashy, but the artwork is hilarious, and I'm looking forward to picking up a couple of them. What do you think, Ian?
Dude, I love it. It's hilarious. It's first of all, it's hilarious, yes, in concept, and then just like a 0/4 flyer mana dork for two is awesome. Like it's really a cool card.
I will say they nailed it with the flavor text, by the way. It says the nature of a giant disemboweled cyborg cowhead that travels through time and space raises countless questions, but Cuddly doesn't like talking with his mouth full. I just love it. I think it's silly. It's right up
Yep.
my alley.
Yeah. It's silliness.
All
All right,
right.
what next?
Let's go. You know what? Let's look at I'm wondering if you also picked up, what is it, Ninja Teen? Is that it? I thought I put that one in there. No.
Ninja Teen, yeah, right here.
Oh yeah, Ninja Teen.
Yep.
I think, again, this looks like it's out of Kamigawa block. I don't think it looks Ninja Turtles coded. So it's exciting in that I think this just slots into lots of things. And I think
This was our Instagram card of the day, by the way.
I saw that and I was so excited. Yeah, I think this card is a freaking banger, man. It comes out for
Mhm.
3. It's a class, so it does the class thing. Its first level is whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. So this is like your aristocrats, like yet another redundant aristocrats card. Each opponent loses 1 life anytime your creature dies, except the twist here is it doesn't even have to die. It just needs to
Mhm.
leave the battlefield. And so what I think this provides you is it easily slots into a million aristocrat strategies, but it also goes in your sort of like Esper Blink stuff. There's just a lot of
And
places this can go.
ninjutsu goes in
Yeah.
all the ninjutsu effects,
Ninjutsu.
which are prominent in this set. There's the
Yep.
new, I forget what it's
Sneak.
called. Yeah.
Sneak is also kind of where it's at. This set, sneak is basically, as long as a creature left the battlefield this turn, you could sneak something in. The
You could put
level
it in.
2,
You could do web slinging with
yep,
Spider-Man. Yeah.
yep. It seems very versatile, and the first effect is really what drew me to it, which is very good for a class. I mean, obviously you want to ultimate your classes eventually, but um this comes down and immediately kind of does what I want to do. Now, I will say level 2 also makes this even more effective because in order to ninjutsu or sneak, you need to have an unblockable creature, and this gives your creatures a +1/+0 and menace. So it kind of does the things you want it to do. Like if you're trying to sneak things in and out, it makes it easier to do so. And then level 3, I don't know if I've ever seen the last level be the cheapest, but it's only 1 mana, 1 black
You can
mana,
you can get this to level 3 the turn after you play it.
easily.
If you
Yeah, just
cast it for
invest the same
free,
amount. Yeah,
you invest the same amount, you get to level 3. It's very unique. It is not an escalating level up cost, it is a de-escalating level up cost, which
that's
is
right.
I've never seen that. I don't
I
think
love
there's
it.
another class that does that.
I absolutely friggin' love it. Last level, level 3, creature cards in your graveyard have sneak for 4 mana. It's 3 and a black. You may cast creature spells from your graveyard using their sneak abilities. So it just sort of ties a bow on it. You
And
can
it
sneak
doesn't
things in and out.
Yeah, and it's not sneak them in with a finality counter. It's you just sneak it in. Like, those cards can get removed, and go back to your graveyard and come back the
Then you
next
just do it
turn.
again.
It's
Yep.
just it turns your whole strategy into just something that is very repeatable. It seems like it would provide an incredible amount of efficiency in the right deck that would call for it.
Yeah,
Well, and
the
just
other thing
to
about these classes, real quick, is a lot of people wait to blow these up until you've ultimated them. And so that's almost a mini game too with this one, scaling down instead of up. Are people going to blow it up at the 3 mana first level, or are they going to try to wait until you level it up? And do you even need to? So go ahead, Zach.
Yeah.
yeah, so just to clarify, so uh sneak is technically instant speed. You need to have an unblocked creature, and you can only do it in the declare blocker step. So
Hmm.
after blocks have been declared, and you return the attacking creature to your hand, and you bring in the sneaking thing. Now, it's very similar to web slinging and ninjutsu having a baby. Is that there are some spells, non-creatures, that also have sneak, which is interesting to
Yep.
see, and they have some nasty effects. I'm sure we'll talk about some of them, but
Yep.
yeah, it's really interesting the way that it's designed.
Yep.
Yeah, and
It's
I
cool.
do like it. It feels like we are making more whole the Kamigawa block, shenanigans. Like this feels right at home with ninjutsu decks. It sort of wants to do the same thing, and there hasn't been, the greatest amount of support for a lot of the Kamigawa tribal stuff. And if we can get some ninja stuff that helps those decks out, I'm all in. Let's go back to the list, Ian, and I'll give you another
Yeah.
banger.
What next?
Let's get the mana rock up there because again, I like 3 mana rocks. I am not embarrassed to say. This one in particular stood out to me. This one says whenever a land you control enters, put a charge counter on this artifact. And you could spend the charge counters or you don't have to, which drew me to this. So as your lands are coming in, you're stacking charge counters on it. Um, you can tap to add 1 mana of any color, regardless of how many charge counters on it. So this is never a do nothing card. You can remove 2 charge counters and tap to add 2 colorless mana, which is awesome,
Hmm.
underrated awesome. And then you can remove 3 counters from this artifact and deal 3 damage to any target. Weathermaker feels very strong to me.
It does.
In terms of 3 mana rocks, this one's up there, man. Like
Um,
it blows stuff up. It can ramp you. It does a lot.
yeah, let me tell you, this is the only card that we share on our lists.
Oh shoot. Okay. Okay.
Yep. So I too picked Weathermaker. Um, I love a good landfall deck or land matters deck. I love, to your point, you can still do something with it if it doesn't have charge counters. I love the charge counter abilities. 2 colorless mana is awesome. Three damage is also great if you need it in a pinch, or that can help you, achieve, your whatever goal you're going for. It's non-combat damage matters stuff or whatever. Um, but also you got to think like this is coming on the heels of Edge of Eternities, which was like charge counter Mageddon. Like we got so much charge counter synergy with Edge that like this plus all the other additional proliferate support we've gotten over the years, just it seems like this could be something that you would never not have the charge counters you would need to do something with it. um, like the landfall's nice, but that's probably like just getting you your first charge counter, and then from there you're just like making them like crazy, or using them even. Like you can use those charge counters as currency for other effects, like we're seeing with Lorwyn, like moving counters off of things. So it's a very utilitous, I think deceivingly utilitous artifact that's going to be in our hands pretty soon.
Yeah, and again, like, I said at the jump here, unless you're squinting and looking really deep into the card, it doesn't look like a Ninja Turtles card. It just looks like a guy with swords jumping at a ball of
It's
lightning.
cool. Yeah, the art's cool.
The art's cool. All right, let's go. Let's find something else. I'm glad that was our shared
Hmm.
our shared card because that to me felt like a sneaky underdog that a lot of people would notice. It reminds me of is it the Staff of Completion that each of the
Hmm.
tap abilities is life
All
lost
life.
based.
Yep.
Um, it's got that kind of vibe to it. I need to get some Staff of Completions because they go in a couple of my decks.
Yeah, they're
All right.
great.
Let's go with the Southwind Avatar next. And
I knew you were. I almost put this on my list, but I knew you were going to, so I didn't.
you're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to
I,
revel in our shared
I,
insight.
I know. No, I just know you. I know you too well. When I saw this card, I'm like, oh, this is like this. I feel like the artist might as well just be you, um, because this is like your card, basically made for you.
It is. It really. Yeah. Yeah. You know me too well. It's 3 and a black. It's a 3/4 death touch, which I already like clearly. Whenever another creature you control dies, you gain life equal to its toughness, and whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. It is important to note that, like, if you gain 8 life off of a spell, they only lose 1 life. But if you have the
Hmm.
ability to sort of gain life over again, this gets out of control pretty quick. Um,
Hmm.
it also sneakily goes into well, not even sneakily, it's perfect for aristocrats. You get a Blood Artist out. Well, Blood Artist is whenever a creature you control dies, you're going to ping an opponent and gain life, and you're going to basically do that multiple times in a loop because a creature's going to die. You're going to bust somebody with the Blood Artist. You're going to gain life. They're going to lose life. You're going to gain life equal to the toughness of the creature that died. It just is shenanigans on a stick.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I think we're going to
It
see a lot of this. And I think, again, it doesn't look like Ninja Turtles. It
this
kind of looks Marvel-y, but
It does.
um,
This is also the back half of a Sanguine Bond Exquisite Blood combo. You could win the game with this. This could go infinite. Because you'll something will die, you'll gain life. That's going to ping your opponent for life. And then oh no, I guess you wouldn't. Well, I don't know. You could, yeah, it could spark that off. Sorry, I'm stupid. It's late. It's getting late. But it's really good. It's really good.
Southwind Avatar,
And it's
he
death touch, it's snakes matter. I can't stop thinking about Doran, dude. This would go really well with Doran because you could attack with stuff and then it would be bigger, and then you could sack it and gain all that life back and do damage. It's like maybe a toughness matters synergy thing. It's pretty crazy.
there's just a lot of stuff going on with this card, despite the fact that it doesn't look like there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's cool. Yes, you're right. This was my favorite card out of the bunch. This is the card I got super excited about. That and Ninja Teen. Um, those are the two. Yep.
Nice. Cool.
Some honorable mentions in here, and I know we want to get to your list, and I know we're running out of time, but there's the blue black shredder card. What is it? Cranage Shredder.
Hmm.
I do want to hit that quickly. I think this one does feel very fun, and it feels, I think a little bit commandery. Um, so when they enter or attack, each opponent is going to, let me read here. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card, and then they have disappear at the beginning of your end step. If a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn, you may cast a card exiled with Krang and Shredder without paying its mana cost. So it's sort of like, you know, um, in the same vein as like Gonti, Lord of Luxury, card stealing shenanigans. But what I do like is you can kind of fold this into treasure strategies or any sort of token sack strategy to make sure that you get the permanent leaving the battlefield and sort of negate that downside or that requirement pretty quick. So to me, this felt like a really weird sort of token deck, treasure tokens, clue tokens, whatever else.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
also a dang 6/7, so it's also not like nothing. So yeah, it's a cool one. Villainous
Yeah,
to say the least.
it's cool. Yeah, it's very bad guy. Very bad guy vibes. But it is cool.
And again, you don't have they're not using villains in this set too, which is interesting. And I feel like
Hmm.
it's, they're saving that for Marvel only. And there's got to be a balancing issue here. But, this
Yeah,
one, they're not doing villains here. It's weird. But
I think you're right though. I think it's on purpose. I think they're trying to save that for the Marvel synergy. Um, yeah, that's a good call. I didn't think about that.
love it. All right,
Okay.
well, let's go to yours. There's a
Okay.
lot of other honorable mentions in there. I got a couple more Krangs in there. Got to have them. Turtles
Yeah.
Forever, I think, is an interesting
Hmm.
tutor factor fiction thing going on. But yeah,
Yep.
let's see what you got, man.
All right. Yeah, I think I went a very different route, which is fun. So I only did five. Actually no, six. So not as many as you. We got Weathermaker in there, so we'll keep that. We'll skip that one. Let's start with Renee. I think is how you say it. It might be Renee. It might be Rennet. I do not know this character, so I'm sorry to all the Ninja Turtle fans out there. This I actually really like this card because of just what I know I could do with it. So this is a 5-drop, 2 blue and 3 legendary creature, human wizard. It's got flash. It's a 4/3, which is interesting. But when it enters, you return each other non-land permanent that entered this turn to its owner's hand. So at first I kind of glazed over this and I was like, oh, that's cool, whatever. But then I like actually sat with it for a minute and was like, oh wait, like think of all the times that someone at your in your pod goes off with like a token, some infinite token uh synergy, or they put their whole deck on the board because they have something that they can do that with, and you can just let that all happen with this in your hand. And then when they go to like do their win con, or they very snidely say that they're going to combat, you can drop this and just put everything back in their hand. Like, and if they don't have a way to put it back out, then that's it. Like their turn is effectively over. I can also imagine if they don't have any sort of like hand maximum hand size situation, they might have to discard down to 7. Like there's some really cool stuff you could do here. You could also use it as protection for your own stuff. So if you did a bunch of stuff and then someone, flashed in some way to remove everything on the board, or decided that they were going to try to remove something that you had just put out, or maybe they do some combat tricks and they're going to just get rid of your attacker that you don't want to get removed. You can pull that stuff back if it came out just the same. So it's a really like flexible, potentially one-sided board wipe, not board wipe, but like a one-sided bounce. But it also can be used as protection as well. So I thought it was very cool, very versatile.
You know what
If
this
you
is? This is
pair,
a grown test card. But it's the kind of grown test that, like, when somebody plays this card on me, my canned response is, "I deserve that." Like, it's like an
it's
acceptable grown.
it's very
You're like, all right.
it's super niche, but it's the kind of niche that I enjoy, where you have it and you really don't play it unless you need to play it. And you're probably gonna there will be pods where nobody plays this because the type of deck that this is really gonna actually affect or counter, if you will, is not even played in that pod, right? Like things that just go infinite, huge token swingers, like stuff like that. That's some pods don't have a ton of people that play that kind of stuff. So but for what it can do, like it can do some really cool stuff. And I think it unlocks a lot of really interesting potential and capabilities in decks.
if you have all the mana in the world, you can pair this with Morning Tide's Light and bounce the entire board.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, you could. Yeah, it's crazy. And she's got such a cool little helmet on. I love the artwork too. You know, like this character. Again, I don't know this character. I'm kind of bummed. Like some of these Ninja Turtle characters I think are like maybe after my time of like really paying attention to the show and to the franchise, but I just really like the art and just it's a very blue card. I really like it.
And again, it doesn't really look like a Ninja Turtles card.
It
Yes, the
doesn't.
turtle's in the background. You have to kind of squint to see turtle, but yeah, looks great. Awesome.
It doesn't. All right, the next one is Mutagen Man Living Ooze. I fucking love this card. It's
I
so
almost
cool.
put this on my list.
It's
Almost.
so cool,
Almost.
dude. So it's a X and 2 green legendary ooze mutant, which I'm just all about. I love ooze. I have a one of my favorite decks that I play is a Catilda and Lear um, Slime Against Humanity deck. I just love the concept of ooze. It's so fun. It's got trample. It's a 2/3. And what I love about it is activated abilities of artifact tokens you control cost one less to activate. So it is very like niche, but it's cool. We're talking clues, blood tokens. In this case, it's really trying to target mutagen tokens, which are activate only as a sorcery. So that is we did confirm that, which is kind of a bummer. But when it enters, you create X mutagen tokens just like that. So if you mana dump into this, you could create a ton of mutagen tokens. They're effectively all free to then play. And you could buff this guy. You could also put 1/1 counters on anything else around you, right? So it's really cool. I also think of like this with like Simic Ascendancy, you could win the game in a turn. You could do all sorts of silly shit with this card. It is really really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I also like, talk about balancing. I think we continue to get into these little like, what were they thinking type scenarios. The mutagen token being sorcery speed seems like they really kneecapped that ability. But we'll
They need
see. We'll see
to.
how it comes up. But
They need to. They I think they needed to like the fact that you could if you could do that at instant speed, that could just do some of the silliest stuff. It becomes this constant like combat trick that everyone's looking out for. It turns into like possibly some instant speed sacrifice stuff that you could be doing. I think they made the right call by making it sorcery, granted given what it could do, especially with cards like this where now it's just free to do.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so but I get it.
yep. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll
We'll
see
see.
how
It could suck.
great that ability is.
Yeah, it could
I
totally
think in
suck.
limited it's going to be good. In limited it'll be rock solid.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next one I put in was, and this one I actually really surprised myself. I did not think I would put anything like this in, but Leonardo Sewer Samurai. This is a 4 drop, 1 white and 3 for a mutant Ninja Turtle Samurai, which it's fun to say. It has the sneak mechanic, so you can sneak it out for 2 and 2 white, which is cool. It has double strike, which is also cool. It's a 3/3. But this next ability is actually I thought about it for a little bit, and that's why I put it in here. So at first glance, this seems kind of meh, but during your turn, you may cast creature spells. You just can cast creature spells. There's no limit to this. With power or toughness, 1 or less from your graveyard. Just period. You can just do that, which is already cool. If you do cast a spell this way, it enters with a finality counter on it. And that was where I was like, initially, okay. But then I thought, oh my gosh, we're in white here. So we can blink all of those creatures easily. And when they blink, the finality counter drops off. And then
Oh
you just
yeah.
have a creature from your graveyard now on the board. You can cast your graveyard essentially just becomes a free hand at all times during your turn. And you're in blink strategy, which can get really it can get out of hand. You're potentially sneaking stuff, or I don't know if there's not a whole lot of ninjutsu support with white. But there's a ton of stuff you can do here. And that's why I put it in. And again, I definitely surprised myself, but this card was I think very, very creatively crafted. And its ability seems cool already, but when you really think about what you could do with it, I think it really levels up to a whole different ball game.
Yeah, you're right. There's some cool stuff going on. Um, I kind of wonder too, like obviously you're thinking about this in terms of a commander, but in a Hydra deck where like most of the time Hydras are X as the power,
Hmm.
that's kind of
Hmm.
crazy.
Or
There
star creatures, yeah.
yeah, star creatures,
Hmm.
matter kind of stuff. Starfish deck, can we call it that?
Sure, yeah, we could do that.
I am bummed. They should have somehow like crossed out legendary creature or did something funny. Like, where's the teenage? Okay, the only teenage reference we've seen so far is Ninja Teen, and they got close. It's a mutant Ninja Turtle samurai, but I want a teenage mutant Ninja Turtle too.
Well, the freaking like text for the type is so tiny on this.
Yeah,
They were
yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah.
running out of characters.
They were playing with the
Um,
kerning.
yeah, they definitely were. Good use of kerning. All
Thank you,
right.
thank you.
Let's move to the next one. We'll do broadcast takeover. This one just is so dumb, dude. I saw this and again initially I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But then I reread it and I was like, oh, that's absolutely terrible. So Broadcast Takeover is the reddest card of all time. It's
I'm
three red and
listening.
two. Three red and two. I know I got your ear now. Three red and two for a sorcery that says gain control of all artifacts your opponents control until end of turn. Untap them and they gain haste until end of turn. At the surface for this, again, I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Like, it's you're getting all artifacts. But if you really, like, think about what you could do with this card, um, and the fact that you gain control of all artifacts your opponents control, not just one, all of them, you just could do some straight dastardly things with this card. Um Turn all your opponent's stuff into artifacts. Like if you have like Mycosynth Lattice, I think is the card that turns everything into artifacts. You could just steal everybody's everything. If you have a sack outlet, you can sacrifice all the stuff that you get. You could use people's treasures. You could use all their mana rocks. You could turn all their artifacts into creatures and swing out. There's just like a ton of things you can do with this just in red. Like you don't even need to go far outside of red to already make this pretty backbreaking. But if you paired it up with blue or um, I mean any sort of sack strategy with artifacts or anything like that, it can get really really gross.
Yeah, you've got me really thinking about the card. Um, yeah, you know what deck comes to mind for me is it's actually a group hug deck. It's a my Zedru deck. Um, and that deck
Okay.
is giving stuff away to people, but a lot of times it's giving away artifacts and things, like taking stuff back is kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm brewing in my head. I don't have anything, strictly great to say, but yeah, I could see this card being sort of a banger, like a hidden gem for a lot of commander decks.
Hmm. Yeah. All right, and then we got Weathermaker, and then the last one I did, I again, some of the wording in these cards is sneaky, which is actually why these most of these are on here. Party Dude is
Party
really,
dude.
really cool. Okay. So Party Dude is an enchantment class. Um, Aside from it just being freaking cool because of the name and the art and just the general vibe of it, It does some really cool stuff. So when it enters, each player creates a food token. That's fun. Group huggy. And then you level it up for 2 for green and colorless. And whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card. Also cool. Something else that green, does well is artifact removal. Also, people are going to be, sacking treasures with the new stuff. They might be sacking mutagen tokens or clues or whatever. They just might be sacking artifacts, right? So that's awesome. There's also no limit to this. So there's none of that, like, this can only happen once per turn nonsense. This is just whenever it happens, you get to draw, which is awesome. And then the level 3, again, I reread this, and that's why I put it here, is whenever one or more of your opponents are attacked, up to 1 target attacking creature gets +X till end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So at surface value, it's like, oh, cool, I could attack my opponent. I got 4 cards in my hand. I give a creature +4/+4. But it's whenever an opponent is attacked. So you can give your opponent's creatures +X/+X when they're attacking your opponents anytime that happens.
It's because it's a party, dude.
It's a party, dude. So I really loved that, and again, I read it a couple times, and I was like, "Oh man, that's actually that's like a very different way of writing a card. Like this is just very unique." There's some politicking in there. There's, you just have this like thing out now that you can leverage and say, "Hey, like, go attack over there. I'll give your guy sacrifice a couple treasures to pay for your stuff, and I'll get your guy bigger so then they can swing in harder." There's just some really fun interactions, I think, with this, and yeah, it kind of makes it a party. It's really cool.
This is like the first class that I think has 0 synergy from the levels, each of the levels. Each of these levels is doing something completely different. Like,
No,
at
it's
first
it's not. It's not. Well, the first one's
it
just goofy
is.
because you're coming to the party with food. Okay, you get to the party with food, but then the second ability does play into the third ability, right? Because if you're playing a group hug deck, which this would slot so well into, and you're giving people, like, you're giving out treasures or giving out clues or giving out mutagen tokens possibly. um this you want to put people in a position where they want to leverage those things. um or you can be the person that ends up removing some of those things too, right? Like, there's a ton of different ways you could have artifacts that your opponents control go to the graveyard and just draw a shitload of cards, and then attack. You can swing in with your big trampler or your big unblockable guy, or you could say to your opponent the same thing, like, you swing it, you know Zach, go swing at Jared. I'll give your creature +10/+10 because my hand size is 10 right now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I'm not saying it's not cool. It just seems you have to really come up with a storyline to make these make sense. And I think you got to bring food to the party. There's going to be a lot of trash on the ground. If you help people pick up the trash and throw it away, you're going to reap the rewards. And then at the end of the night, you hope that you're dancing with somebody you like. That's my best. That's my best attempt.
I love it.
Oh God. All right. What
Cool.
else? What else we got?
That's it. That's
That's
it. Those
it.
are my
We
those
did
are my
it.
6.
Those are all the cards.
That was
Yeah,
it.
That
those are the
that
ones that we picked.
that that's all of them.
No, that's not all of them.
Because
All of them.
there's a card that I don't know why it didn't get mentioned.
Oh Jesus, what is it?
Oh baby. What we got?
It's Toka and Razar, terrible twos.
Bring it up.
Which one?
Toka and Razar, Tokka.
Oh boy.
All right, let's pull it up.
It's it's a three
Oh,
two
it's
for two.
Rakdos.
It can't be countered. It's got menace, and whenever a player casts a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast it was less than its mana value, it deals 3 damage to that player. So you want to with this one, you're building group hug, baby. You're putting in Helm of Awakening, so every spell casts one less to play. You're playing
Mm.
Urza's Filter, so all multicolored spells cost 2 less to cast for everybody. And you're giving some free casts. You're doing Tybalt's Trickery. You're running Possibility Storm in this deck, baby. You're running Chaos because you're getting free spells and you're getting hurt for it.
I'm sold, but I
Dude.
think that's obvious.
This is why we keep you. Well, I don't know. I guess it's why we keep you around, Zach. Because I would never have looked at this card and thought anything of it other than, oh, it can't be countered. Like, just so devious, so devious. It's a 2-drop. That's like, wow, yeah. And all the cards that are giving everybody the benefit of lower casting cost are like hella cheap.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
because who
true.
wants to make everything like cost less symmetrically? So yeah, they're on the super cheap, so you can find them. There weren't a whole lot that are like entirely symmetrical. Helm of Awakening and Urza's Filter were the two best ones that I could find. Those ones are colorless. And
Hmm.
then there's some stuff that if you can find a way to like fit blue in, um, there was a card from Edge of Eternities that makes the first spell that each player casts each turn free.
That's
So you
right.
could run that.
Well, the only other problem is it hits you too, right? So figuring out how to
It
turn that
does,
on
but I
its
mean,
head.
you can throw in,
Well,
because you could
you
throw in
could,
like Shadow
you
Spear or things that give it life link, and then you're gaining
yeah,
like
because
9 life a
this.
turn cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jared,
yeah.
the Creed, they are doing the damage, right? So any damage doubling, any lifelink, um, equipment, yeah, equipment, lifelink, any black. I think there's a couple black enchantments that would give lifelink.
Whip of
Um,
Erebos.
yeah, because they're doing the damage. So you'd be getting life back that way, or doubling, or what is it, Torvar, the red guy that adds 2 damage to all red
Hmm.
sources. Any of
Yeah,
that stuff is gonna
and even if you don't synergize around that, this is still a 3/2 menace for two that can't be countered.
Yeah,
yeah.
but you're right. I mean, the synergy around that card is the fun part, right? Like
Oh yeah,
if somehow you're Grixis, you could what is it? Is it Sigil of Sleep? That's the one that is not combat damage to a player. You draw a card on any damage to a player, or maybe it's Helm of the Gas Lord. Um,
Sigil of Sleep does it. Yeah,
yeah, that yes. Okay. I love that it's the creature itself doing the damage. That's a huge
I
deal.
would I would to be honest, I would make this the commander. If I were to build
Yeah.
this, I would want it to be the commander. Because
Yeah, I
you
think
get
yeah.
that's
this
You
out
would need
on
to build
turn
around it.
2, dude. Turn 2. And you're gonna swing in at least one turn for 3 to somebody. And every single turn, you're just like, nobody wants to cast anything discounted. All their medallions are like basically like useless. They're actually a detriment to everybody.
You
Um,
can't do it in Rakdos, but this would pair really well with Airbend. So I guess if you're playing
Oh
an Airbend
yeah.
deck, which there's a popular airbending deck in standard. So if you do play a standard deck somehow built around this, um,
this could be in the
it would go
sideboard.
really well with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
for
you could
sure.
sideboard this into any red or black deck, and
It
they'd be
Yeah.
is
like, "Oh,
hybrid, so yeah, it does fit into a lot more
you're
places
gonna
outside of
airbend now?
Commander.
Okay, that's fine, dude." Zach, I gotta say, you you know, at surface value, I would never have guessed that you were as nefarious a Magic player as you are, but you are the black and red glue that holds this group together.
Listen, I mean, y'all made me this way. To be quite clear.
You
Yes.
created this monster.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Oh man.
Well, that was a great last edition there. Ends with all of us heads spinning, thinking about how to make Tokaboga
Dude.
work, the terrible twos. Um, yeah, what a great night, y'all.
Yeah. Ton of good stuff. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. Thank you for sticking it out. I saw, a lot of people joined tonight. So appreciate you all sticking it out with, us learning a new system, trying to get all this stuff ironed out. The feedback we got was the quality, so we're trying to get that better. Thank you to Zach for piecing all this together. um, Honestly, like Zach came out of left field, last week with the pre-release, the opening of packs, and started emceeing for us and getting all the video stuff put together. So thank you, Zach, for being just an incredible head producer for us, and also throwing out some killer
Bangers.
suggestions for cards and synergy.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, another super duper great night. Um, Jared, I'll let you wrap up. I again, before I give it over to Jared, I just want to say thanks again. I heard my audio was kind of cutting out when I was talking about the website, but um, you know, the website is live. We'd like everyone to check it out, to join tonight, make an account, dig in, play with it, make your decks, share your feedback. We want to hear about it. We wouldn't even be streaming right now if it weren't for our community over in the Discord, our community, our supporters in Patreon. We're just super humbled that, Jared and I were just talking about this the other night. It's like, you know 13, 14, 15 people, just, this was like what you did tonight, was to hang out and just like talk and listen to magic with us. And like, it's just super humbling that you're all here and hanging out with us, and we really appreciate your presence and your support. um I'm not crying, you're crying. We just really appreciate you all, so thank you so much for joining and supporting us. And Jared, I'll kick it over to you. You can wrap us up for the night.
Yeah, I think that's almost it. I'll just say www.constantkaratechop.list.com. Make sure that karate chop is actually a hyphen. Hopefully, you remember that. Please take a look at our Patreon again. Our first goal is really just breaking even so that we can provide the site to you and everybody else without sort of a massive hit to our personal wallets. But we're inching closer and closer. We're at the point where it's easy to cut back on a few cups of coffee a month each to make this thing sing. We do have affiliate links for TCG Player, for Mana Pool, for I think Amazon even now.
Hmm.
Those
Yep.
affiliate links are a very easy way to help us out. Again, all of the revenue we generate from that just kind of goes back into the upstart costs for the website servers. Now we've got a URL we're paying for, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, like the most important thing, the thing that keeps us going every week at 8:30 on Thursdays is just the engagement. So thanks for stopping by. Like Ian said, it's like I don't know that I don't feel like we deserve to have an audience, but we do, and we're grateful for it, and we're trying our best to make this thing better and better every week. So thanks to everybody again. Thanks to Zach for being our head producer and just crushing it and making us look like technological fools. We're going to start posting some dumb memes and stuff on Instagram. Appreciate your engagement there too. And really have a great night. And if you're local to the Austin area, or you're going to be impacted by the blizzards this weekend, like be safe, stay warm, play some magic. Good night, y'all.